Okay, so who wins if Tank fights Shakur?
Um, Based off the last Tank fight, I'm probably leaning towards Shakur in that one.
Wow. Were you surprised at Roach's performance against Tank?
I didn't expect Roach to be as sharp. I knew he was coming with some good work. I knew he could fight. I actually fought his little brother in the amateurs, back then. And I knew
See
that
that?
Roach, I knew that he could fight. But before that fight, I'm thinking, Tank was going to kind of do what Roach did. But Roach, I feel like he was a little bit sharper.
Right.
What's good, Just Do family? It's your boy KB back with another video. Before we get into it, make sure you smash the like button, sub to the channel, turn them notifications on, and drop a comment at the end of the video, man. Let's get to it. So, man, y'all heard it straight from the horse's mouth. The young phenom, as they call him, Abdullah Mason, who got an appetite for smoke. He was recently on the show with Akin Barak, ring champs. Shout out to them for the great work, and they asked him about his opinion on who he think would win between Shakur and Tank Davis. And surprisingly, it might be a big surprise to some, he said Shakur Stevenson. And he noted specifically, he got Shakur after, Tank Davis' most recent fight with Lamont Roach that surprised a lot of people because Lamont Roach actually came to fight. He didn't lay down and he fought a very competitive fight through all the way through 12 rounds, made it the distance, didn't get knocked out, dropped, or didn't come close to it. So a lot of people are kind of looking at Tank in a different light, and they feel like, some of these other guys or potential opponents of his are more competitive fights now, seeing how well Lamont Roach, competed with him coming up from 130. The consensus is that he brought up another 130 pounder and he didn't fight none of the champions at 135, none of the contenders. He went straight to pulling up the smaller guy. And I always thought that was just a reason to complain or take away from the fight. They're men at the end of the day. If you look at Lamont Roach's resume, you see that he had a number of fights above 130. Just do the homework. So it wasn't about that. That fight between Tank and Roach wasn't going to be about, who was the bigger guy. As you clearly seen on fight night, Roach was the bigger man on fight night. So that wasn't a deciding factor. Roach really showed up. Skills paid the bills. He got in there and he showed up in ways that a lot of boxing fans didn't think he could perform, and he outperformed people's expectations. And as a result, you got guys like the young Abdullah Mason probably looking at Tank like, oh, okay, now maybe the fight with him and Shakur Stevenson is a bit closer now. So you just never know. But for me, I'm not one to count Tank Davis out. That's Lamont Roach. Lamont Roach did extremely well. Just because he did extremely well doesn't mean Shakur Stevenson will do extremely well or even beat him. But at the same token, if you're really just paying attention to the body of work between Shakur Stevenson and Lamont Roach, I mean, nobody was talking about Lamont Roach as a contender or a potential player at 135 before the fight with Tank. So he kind of hit the scene in, unexpected fashion. Like I said, having his best performance against one of the most absolute dangerous fighters in all of boxing, the one they call the face of boxing, Gervonta Davis. But, this just makes me want to see the fight between him and Shakur Stevenson even more, because I do think Shakur Stevenson is more talented and at a higher level than Lamont Roach, respectfully. And I think if they would have fought, it would be a very close situation, similar to Padley. Yeah, he might be a little more competitive in spots than Padley. He might win a couple more rounds than Padley, but I think when it's all said and done, it'll be a clear-cut victory. I just don't see Shakur Stevenson having a draw with Lamont Roach. But like I said earlier, that doesn't mean that he'll get in there with Tank Davis and do what Lamont Roach did or better. Lamont is Lamont, Shakur is Shakur. But I thought it was interesting that the young Abdullah Mason picked Shakur Stevenson to win. And I think he knows what he's seeing. I think he's possibly been in the ring with both. If not Tank, I definitely know he's been in the ring with Shakur Stevenson. But at the end of the day, sparring is sparring, and that's why we see these fights. Shakur Stevenson and Tank Davis has been talked about for quite some time now, especially ever since Shakur Stevenson moved into the division of 135. So it's just a fight that people are going to continue to clamor for, speculate, break down, talk about, all the way up until the two champions give us the fight. So I hope we can get this fight at some point this year, if not early next year, because I think it's long overdue. I don't think it's over marinated, but why wait too long until the fight is over marinated instead of just giving the fight fans what they want to see? I don't think there's nobody in boxing that is not interested in seeing who will win out of Shakur Stevenson and Tank Davis. And I know it's a hell of a lot of people that's getting tired of hearing the speculation of who will win. One day is Tank, the next day is Shakur, the next day is Tank, the next day is Shakur. So at the end of the day, they just need to make the fight and make the best man win. And I think on that day, not only will they win as young fighters, as champions, the boxing world as a whole will win. We as fans will win. And I think it'll go down as one of the best fights to be made in the lightweight division of this era. You know, that's just my thoughts. But y'all, that's my take on it. That's my just do on it. Y'all get in the comment section. Y'all let me know what y'all think. How y'all got this fight going if it potentially happens. And is Abdullah Mason crazy or is he on point for picking Shakur Stevenson to win the fight? And as always, let me know if I gave boxing its just due, because that's what I do over here, just do boxing. To the next one, I'm out. Peace.